Boom, boom, boom. NBA draft 2021. We never really thought we would get here, but here we are.
Yes, sir.
You gotta love it. First of all, I want to let's give shouts where shouts are due, right? And you know who I want to shout out, right, KJ?
I do. Go ahead, fire away.
I want to shout out Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, for banning the sports box from Facebook for something that was posted a long time ago. So, if you guys are going to be watching any of our videos, I mean, big draft night tonight. I mean, big preview draft for us tonight. Tomorrow, is the big draft, so no one's going to be going live for that. So it's one of the things where, Big Brother on Facebook shot us down. I don't know what was posted or what was said by the main page, but bottom line is, we still got a show to do. We're here, me and KG. We're not quitting on us. Paulie Allen and Emilio are out on the golf course. Shows you where their mind's at, but they're not really college basketball fans or draft fans and stuff like that. So
they're
happy to have the voice of reason with us tonight. So we'll see what's going on. Kev, how you feeling, brother?
I am doing well, my big brother. How you doing?
Busy day. Kind of excited. Team USA kind of let me down this weekend. Trying to get a little bit excited for the draft. But with that said, you got all kinds of rumors being, for trades about Sixers, especially Ben Simmons. They've been out there, but now they're looking closer and closer because if they're going to do something, they're going to do something this week. With all the draft capital, so
honestly, man, I think if something's going to go down, I think it either happens tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah,
it's got to involve some type of draft picks or something.
Listen, Woj dropped I'm not going to say a Woj bomb, but he dropped some knowledge. Like they're actively shopping Ben Simmons, which we knew that already. Some of the speculation, the packages, Jimmy Butler and the Heat have been mentioned. Toronto's been mentioned. Wizards have been mentioned. It's kind of weird. It's all Eastern Conference teams, but with that said, Rich Paul and Ben Simmons are aware of it, so it's going to be interesting. So, if anything is going to be done, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this upcoming draft, though, I mean, it's pretty much the top 5 are locked in. Maybe actually, I think the top 6 are actually locked in.
I would say the top 6, yeah.
Yeah, so and teams are trying to sway. I mean, listen, Ben Simmons is on the market, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the market. Teams are trying to get in the top 4. So it's going to be interesting. So we got our boys up in Motown. Not my boys. Definitely not your boys.
No, yeah, not my boys.
Not your boys, not my boys, but the boys, the Detroit Pistons. Is there anybody other than Cade Cunningham that we should even discuss at this point?
From everything I'm hearing, and again, it could be a smoke screen. I know they like Jalen Green too, and you and I discussed this off air, man. Jalen Green. If Detroit takes Jalen Green over Cade Cunningham, I wouldn't be like, all right, that's a terrible decision, but. All said and done, I think Cade Cunningham's going on.
Yeah, when we talk about Cade Cunningham, I think he's the best player in the draft overall. And when I mean overall, I'm talking about like if you look at all his compiled skills, right?
Yeah.
Not the best shooter in the draft, not the best passer in the draft, not the best athlete in the draft, but he kind of combines all of that, well. I don't even know if he has the best feel for the game, but he's a 6'8". A lot of comparisons to Luka. I see more of a Penny Hardaway build. And Penny's probably my favorite point guard of all time.
He's not as athletic as Penny was at that point, but
I don't think he has the swirl. But I mean, he's definitely there, and I think that's what separates himself from the next few guys.
Yep.
I mean, how does he fit in Detroit though? I think he fits in well. I mean, they have Sadiq Bey, they have Olympian Jeremy Grant. So it's so when you say it like that, then hey, you're already ahead of the game, right?
Yep.
Killian Hayes, Boo Boo Stewart, them guys. I mean, they have some, but Cunningham is going to be the face. I mean, I don't care what Olympic team selects Jeremy Grant. He's not a star in the league. And I think Cade Cunningham has said all the right things about going to Detroit, and it looks like he's going to be a very good fit with Detroit for many, many years to come. So
let's hope not.
Shout out to our boy Henry watching. I appreciate the love. I mean, he has 4 Denver Nuggets questions, and Denver doesn't even pick the 26, and we're at 1. So, Henry, if you want to give us a little bit of time here, we're eventually going to get to 26. I promise you. But we got to start at 1 first, right? So, after Detroit, Houston. Now, this is the pick where coming into the draft recently, it seems that like there was like who's going to be the pick, Jalen Green or Evan Mosley. There's been a lot of big people that have commented that they wanted Evan Mosley, which I kind of was skeptical of because his number one you see is Christian Wood.
Yeah, I was about to say you have him already on Houston.
And Mobley is obviously he's a little bit higher end prospect than Christian Wood. I mean, but I don't think this is not taking Michael Jordan because you have Clyde Drexler. Evan Mobley, he projects as more of a Chris Bosh type. So what they're going to do here is they're going to take Jalen Green. They're going to try to create an exciting young backcourt. What are your thoughts on Jalen Green and his use and Houston Rockets fit?
I think it's like I said, you already beat me to it. I was going to say that's a nice young backcourt they're going to build. I think it's a fantastic pick for them. They're not going to be good for years, so you might as well get all that young athletes you can in there now and rebuild.
Yeah, and I think when you're looking at Jalen Green, he was the star of the Ignite team, which we discussed a little bit. What's better, Ignite or to go the traditional college route? I think definitely by far the traditional college route has provided a little bit more star power to Cade Cunningham, Jalen Suggs. America kind of fell in love with Jalen Suggs. Evan Mobley out on the West Coast, he didn't have a huge run in the playoffs, tournament, I should say. So that's kind of a little bit skeptical there. But when you're looking at these guys on the Ignite roster, kind of hit and miss, coached by Brian Shaw. I don't know how much value that gives him. But Jalen Green himself is a freak. You're going to put him next to John Wall. You're going to put him with Kevin Porter Jr., Christian Wood.
Good pieces.
Houston, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Houston needs to really hope that Jalen Green turns into that uber athlete, top-notch scorer that they expect him. He's got a little bit of comparisons to your boy Zach LaVine. That hasn't gotten your team over the top, so I'm not sure, what that projects for Houston, especially with a shoot-first guy like Kevin Porter. So we'll have to see how that goes. Moving along to our next pick, Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, this is where we see Evan Mobley, right?
Yep.
What do you feel about his fit on the Cleveland roster?
They still have Jared Allen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what I mean? I guess I like it because you're obviously going to get rid of Kevin Love somehow, some way. I don't think he'll be back on the team next year. So you start Evan Mobley at the 4. Depending on what they do with Sexton, who knows? They still got what's the guy? They still got Garland, right? The guard from
and they really like Darius Garland. So right now,
again, teams the two teams we just talked about aren't going anywhere anytime soon. So you might as well stock up with all these type of players that you got now and try to form something. And
this is an epic, solid draft. I mean, they're comparing this draft class to 2003. They're comparing it to 84. They're comparing it to 96. Yep. I mean, they're making all these comparisons that it's supposed to be high end and. If Cleveland here could get a player like Evan Mobley, then you're looking at a nice building piece. He could play next to Jared Allen, right? Yeah. I mean, he was a big reason why they acquired him there. So when we do that, then it's you have to hope that your guards pan out, and you really have to hope that he's going to be able to kind of make it to the next level.
I'm sure now, granted, he's probably going to have to get that little jump shot if he's going to play the 4, maybe 18 to 2.
Well, he's got a pretty solid jump shot.
I didn't see enough of him. I saw the highlights I saw of him. He's a defensive guy, and he got to the hole a lot. But if he has a jump shot, that's good, and he's already ahead of the game then.
Yeah, he could kind of step in and play that stretch four you. I mean, I don't want to be lazy with the comparison because everybody seems to be the comparison, but
Bosh.
Chris Bosh, exactly. So that's like, so when you're talking about Chris Bosh, you're talking about, exactly. Yeah, he's Mobley's a 7-footer, runs the floor. He's got a smooth jumper. Obviously, he needs to get stronger, but he could play next to Jarrett Allen because they did get a. And I think could be, if he's a little bit more aggressive, I think you could see him being a little bit better than Chris Bosh, actually, as a projection.
And he's young. He's like 19, so he's got plenty of time,
But I don't want to, I'm not a huge Chris Bosh fan, but let's, I'm talking about he's probably Toronto Chris Bosh more than with Wade and, taking a back seat. So when you're looking at that, I think Evan Mobley definitely is something that, and if you're a team like Cleveland, and we'll talk about this a little bit when we hit Memphis later, but when you're a team like Cleveland, you need to hit home runs on these drafts. You need to get a super.
Yep.
So speaking of Toronto, Chris Bosh, they're next up at the 4 pick.
Now this is where it gets interesting.
You think? Why so?
Personally, because I've been hearing a lot of things. This is where I kind of listen to the experts. I know I said this 2 weeks ago. Everything I'm seeing is Scotty Barnes is flying up, and Toronto likes him. Well, that tells me if they like him, that must mean they're trying to move Siakam.
Well, Siakam did say that he wanted to go. Siakam is available, and I think he might be a part of those Ben Simmons talks.
Oh, okay. All right.
Siakam came out and he kind of was a little bit disappointed in some of the things in Toronto. I think Toronto wasn't really too happy with his development. I mean, if you think about Toronto, I mean, you're talking about a double doink 2 years ago away from them when they won this, the NBA championship.
Yep.
They still had Van Vliet, they still had Lowry, they still had Siakam. So what went with OG Anunoby has become a solid player. So now where it went wrong in Toronto where they were not even a playoff team this year? You know what I'm saying? Let alone anything else. They weren't even a playoff team. Now, you find themselves picking at 4. So you think that Scotty Barnes would be the pick if Siakam goes?
Listen, if you're asking me who I would take, I'm taking Jalen Suggs. That's me.
That's what I'm doing.
I'm just saying what I've been hearing is that they're in love with Scotty Barnes. They've been doing a lot of work on him. So we'll see. Me personally, I'm taking Jalen Suggs and I'm starting over because Kyle Lowry's not. You're not paying Kyle Lowry what he's asking for. He's not coming back. Get yourself a nice young guard to go with Van Fleet. With Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then build from there.
No, I mean I could see that happen, but first, I think if they make the pick for Suggs, which I think they are going to make the pick for Suggs. I mean, Suggs had a phenomenal tournament. He was on that Gonzaga team that kind of, could do no wrong. I mean, I say he looks like George Hill, but obviously he doesn't play like him. He plays, like an all-star guard. Solid as can be. Everything.
Yeah.
I mean, when you want a guard like Jalen Suggs, he's athletic, great passing instincts. He's played on the big spectrum. He's played in some huge games for Gonzaga, which is always nice to see. Needs a little bit better jumper. I mean, but you know what? That can be developed unless you get drafted by the Sixers because they can't develop a jumper. Anybody. Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons were looking at you. So I mean, I think that what Suggs did, in his run in Gonzaga really locked him in here. So I think Suggs, and that way, he could play next to Van Fleet, because Van Fleet's a shooting smaller point guard, fit in with OG, and I think that kind of helps them rebuild a little bit. And if they get rid of Siakam, but Lowry's on bar time in Toronto, and I hope he doesn't find his way down to Philadelphia. I'll tell you that right now. So, but I think our next pick here, we got Orlando Magic. I think this is where you're looking at your boy from FSU. Even though you're a Carolina Heel fan like me, big time, you still show a little bit of love to FSU because you're a Seminole fan in football. So, Scotty Barnes, though, I think he has been flying up the draft pick. Now, where do you see this kid? Like, what do you think his comparison is in the NBA moving forward? I mean,
He can't. He's not a good shooter. I'm trying to think offhand. Like he can do a little bit of everything. He can't shoot. He can get to the hole. Shoots good from the foul line. Jump shot. He barely ever shoots. I'm trying to maybe some idiots were trying to compare him to Giannis. I said you need to relax with all that. That's definitely not a comparison. I'm trying to think offhand who he could. I don't know, man. I don't want to say Jason Kidd because he's not that type of point guard type guy, but you know that guy that could do everything but just never shot, so you never knew. So I'm trying to think of a comparison. Nobody's coming to my head right now. He's not Jason. I'm not saying that, but you know what I'm talking about, like a rebounder guy, and he's big. He's 6'9", I think.
I mean, I'm 6'8", 6'9", depending on if he has shoes on, what kind of shoes he's wearing. I mean, he's a guy who could guard 1 for 4, and with a pick and roll heavy NBA, that's a big plus. The Magic are a team that their draft on potential. I think this is a little bit similar to what your pick last year and Patrick Williams was. Either Patrick Williams isn't the creator as Barnes, but he has a lot of the same kind of intangibles, defense, switchability. But Barnes is a little bit more of a playmaker. Jump shot's not there, but I'm not 100% in love with his pick with his fit in Orlando, though, right? I mean, when you're looking at the Magic, you have Fultz, you have Cole Anthony, but then you have to remember their boy, another boy from Florida State,
Jonathan
Isaac. They're going to play him at the stretch 4, but he seems like he has a lot of similarities to Barnes, Mo Bamba. I mean, who did they get in a trade with the Bulls to?
Trash. That's what they got. Wendell Carter, trash.
Well, they got didn't they get the 8th pick though? Yeah, but that's the same. Wendell Carter. So I mean, and Jonathan Isaac traditionally has played a small forward. So is Scotty Barnes going to be running the point when you have Cole Anthony and Fultz and these guys?
He did run, and again, it's college, but he did run a lot of the offense at Florida State. You know what I mean? So he does have experience with it, and so we'll see.
Yeah, well, it's good to see Brian and Tards running a test while we're doing our show to try to get Facebook back up. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's good. So, well, let's see. Hopefully, you want to. We'll see what's going on here. Maybe he'll jump into the broadcast and he can actually get us live. So, but yeah, I do. Although I'm not in love with the Barnes pick, that we're, I think it is going to be the pick, right? So, moves on to number 6, OKC. Now it seems like every other pick is OKC, which is interesting,
You used to that for the next 18 years. It's going to be like that. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They acquired so much draft capital. I mean, who do you like here?
I don't think that. Honestly, man, I was having a tough time. I don't think this pick. I think this is a move. Somebody's moving to get this. So, I don't think they're picking at 6. I think they're making it. I think this is where we're going to see our first trade. Not. I think at some point, maybe before the draft, somebody's going to get this. I think is moving to get.
Well, from what I do here is they offered this pick and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the 1 pick.
Yep, and they turned it.
That's that is extremely tough, and it's crazy though because Oklahoma City, who's and I think I mentioned this a couple shows ago, they're saying that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a little bit advanced in their timeline of rebuilding, and so now they're going to get rid of him. Which listen, if I got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in front of me, who seems to be an amazing young talent, and the 6th pick, I think if I'm Detroit, who needs a lot, I'm taking it. But
I saw something with my team. Somebody said they heard that Oklahoma City offered Levine for Shai and the 6th pick. I'm like, well, hurry up and let's sign it, man, because that kid's young. He's under control. Bulls ain't going nowhere anytime soon. So you get a 6, so you get him, and then another I don't know who the Sixers would take, or the Bulls would take, but I love Shea, man. You guys got me sold on him during the season. Let me take it out. Let me watch this guy a little bit more. Fantastic.
So,
And he's under control. You have a controllable contract for the next 2 to 3 years.
and let's not forget they have Luka Dort, who actually came on before he got hurt. He was playing phenomenal. So, it's interesting to see what they have. I mean, they've been playing, guys like Mo Brown at the end of the season and stuff like that. So, if so, let's just say for the sake of what we're doing here is who, if they keep the pick, who does Oklahoma City go with?
I like the guard. I'm gonna Boat Knight from Connecticut.
Right, James Boat Knight. Yeah. So when you're talking about Boat Knight, you're talking about an immediate scorer.
Yes.
Right. He's a weird looking dude for a little bit. His eyes are pretty far apart. It's kind of maybe that helps him with his shooting advantage or whatever like that. But Boat is a scorer. I mean, he is just that scorer. He's not like he's not like Rip Hamilton. He's just more of a pure scorer.
Yeah.
Streaky player in general, but he can handle the pressure. So he's still really young. He doesn't turn 21 until September. I mean, if you're looking to get a nice backcourt, I mean, him and SGA could be a long-term backcourt.
That's some go-getters right there. That's some bucket getters.
Yeah, and then you have Dort, and now you have three young pieces, and if that, since he's been only 21, I mean, maybe they're just trying to rep their timeline a little bit. So we'll see. It's I think that's the pick. So I think the top six are really locked in with Cunningham, Green, Mobley, Suggs, Barnes, and now I think that's the six, unless there's some trading and stuff like that going on, which that stuff you really can't predict. I mean, you're going to hear it.
No.
But so with the next pick, and it seems like just the rich are getting richer, Golden State Warriors. Okay. Now this is where the draft starts, I think. I think this is where the draft really starts. The Warriors can do anything that they want with this pick. They also had the 14th pick. Are they going to be able to package this pick and get an all-star player? I mean,
what they're looking to do.
There's been a lot of talk. I mean, is this part of a Ben Simmons package? You don't know. So say this Golden State keeps the pick. Where are you going with it, Kev?
I like the kid from that played with Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga. That's what
Kuminga?
Yeah. A little smug. Play that 3-4, stretch a little bit. So
yeah, Kuminga is an interesting prospect. He was young. He reclassified. He was a potential number one pick for a while there. The only thing that I'm not going to say unsure about Kuminga is that I think he's not a great fit for Golden State. And here's why. He's not the shooter yet. Not the shooter. Okay. He's a kid who has shooting, he has the physical ability. When I look at him, you know how I kind of see?
Who you got?
I kind of see Kawhi Leonard.
Oh.
Young Kawhi Leonard, not coming in the league, not expecting to shoot. I don't think, he doesn't really have a great feel for the game. So what is this is going to be a philosophical decision by the Golden State team. So Golden State is going to have to sit here and figure out, do they want to get a player like, I would say Andre Iguodala, that mold, kind of does a little bit of everything, does a little bit of dirty work. Or do they want to get a player like Franz Wagner from Michigan who could come in and shoot the ball right away and still give them a little bit of intangibles across the board? So it's going to be safe. So I think that's where the draft gets interesting. If they go with Kuminga, I think it'll be a solid pick because his potential is higher than some of the guys who've already been drafted. He did lead team in night in scoring, but it was because he took a lot of shots, took a lot of bad shots. So we'll see how that pans out. I think if it's not Kuminga, it's going to be Wagner, I believe, and I think Wagner should be a nice fit there. I mean, the kid could do a little bit of everything, and especially he could shoot it in big moments. So we've seen that. Now, I hate to break your heart on this one. Next pick is Orlando for the Bulls. So let's Orlando already had their time to shine. If the Bulls were picking right here, who would you be going with for the Bulls?
The Bulls, I'm taking that. That's a tough one. I'd probably take that. You know who I really like, man? And it might be a little bit too high for him. It might not be. Is that point guard from Oregon? What's that kid's name? Corte? Is that his name?
Chris Duarte?
Yeah.
Well, he's a scorer. I mean, I don't think I don't think he would be a good fit. He's one of the oldest players in the draft at 24. He
Like him.
does score. He is a scorer though, and as on the Bulls, I don't know if that's really what the teams.
I honestly, Tony, I haven't even looked at it like that. I wouldn't even. I know they would probably, if I had to think about it. What point guards are around? I got to look around, man. Give me a minute. Let me get back.
Well, how about? Well, I mean, is that where
I got it. No,
as a Bulls fan, is that where you're looking for a point guard? Are you done with Kobe already?
I know who they would take.
Who's that?
Josh Giddey.
Josh Giddey.
I forgot he's a point guard. I thought he was like.
He's a point guard, shooting guard, kind of point forward.
He's that guy that AK would take. He likes the overseas guys. He likes those type of guys, and he would definitely jump on board with that. I'm sorry, I wasn't even thinking. I forgot he's in his draft.
Well, when I mentioned Cade Cunningham earlier today, I said that he wasn't the best skill and he wasn't the best passer. And the reason why he's not the best passer is because Josh Giddey is in the draft, and the kid has a tremendous feel for the game. They say he has the highest basketball IQ of Australian players that are playing in the Olympics.
Really?
On the Olympic team, on the national team. I don't want to say the Olympic team because Giddy's not playing in the Olympics. And on the national team. And, you have Joe Ingles that plays on that team, and you have Patty Mills. And this was actually coming from them guys. So his IQ is off the charts. I think it would be a great pick for the Bulls and a great pick for Orlando. I'm not 100% sure. And here's why, because if they get Scotty Barnes, do they really double up on that?
No.
So
they probably go like they would probably go maybe either I guess maybe shooting guard or maybe a power forward, because they're going with Wendell Carter as their center. So.
Well, here's the thing. So how I see it is, with Wagner would have been gone, I have them taking Kuminga here. I think Kuminga could play that power forward position for him. Jonathan Isaac, they could kind of grow. Mo Bamba, they could grow. I mean, they're that would give them such a young athletic core.
Pick.
I mean, Kuminga would be able to get it, but to your credit, he wouldn't be there. But in my eyes, he would. So it would be. I think that's the pick. And he was, before he reclassified, he was the number one player. Played up in Jersey, so it's not too bad. So when we get to everybody's favorite team to overlook, and the team that's still kicking themselves for passing on Luka Doncic, Sacramento.
This is where I think Franz is going. This is where I had him going.
Franz, okay. Yep. I mean, I could see that. I mean, I think he would be a good pick here. I think when you look at it, Sacramento has a lot of needs. Buddy Hield is not really getting it done for them as far as like winning basketball. They really love their rookie from last year, Tyrese Halliburton. De'Aaron Fox pretty much did everything for that team. They still have Harrison Barnes, but I think Franz Wagner, if he was there, that would be a solid pick. And I think that they're going to really that would really be something that would be nice for them to kind of like just kind of sneak into. Me personally, I think they're a team that's a little bit desperate. I think that they need backcourt help, and I think they go with Moses Moody
from Arkansas. Good pick.
Yeah, the kid, he's a freshman from Arkansas.
Yep.
He could score on every level. He's going to give. He's that bigger wing. I mean, he's got a nice frame at 6'6". He could play next to Halliburton, or he could play next to De'Aaron Fox, or he could even swing over and play a little bit of small forward. He does add, a nice shot maker. He's just your traditional wing. So I think that's something.
Very good.
Moses Moody will be the pick there. And let's go to our boy Memphis.
Ooh.
What are these guys doing right? I mean, they just made it. They just traded Valanciunas. I mean, we talked about it before, right? We talked. I didn't like the trade that they made because they're giving up on Valanciunas because they don't want to pay him. Say goes out. I mean, I'm sorry. John Morant's there. Dylan Brooks is there.
Dylan Brooks is a shooting guard or a small forward.
He's a shooting guard, but I mean, he could play a little small forward too. I mean, if need be in a smaller lineups, I mean, it's the NBA now. You're allowed to play small lineups, you know. So Jaren Jackson Jr. is there. They acquired Steven Adams for whatever reason. So but this is the pick that they acquired. So what do you think that they're targeting with this pick after that trade?
I have no idea. I really don't. I was having a tough one with this one. So they have a point guard. They have a shooting guard. Who's their small? They have Jared Jackson's probably going to be their center now. They got Kyle, maybe a power forward. I don't know, man. I had a tough one with this one. Let me look at some of these players. Maybe a Trey Murphy from Virginia. Or I mean, you could really throw it for a loop and put Giddey there. Really put Josh Giddey there.
Well, I think Giddey would be a phenomenal fit there if he was left. I mean, that's something that I'm definitely not opposed to. But you know, like I said, for our sake of our stuff, he's gone. I think that and I hate this pick, and if I'm Memphis, I don't make it. But I think Memphis might be in a position to kind of take a swing for a home run and take Jalen Johnson, the kid that quit on Duke. I guess, but you know what though? I'm sorry, Kev. I don't want to say he's quitting because it's okay now to quit. Okay, this generation, it's okay to quit. Yep. It's okay not to work hard and tough things out. If you don't like the way something's doing, you leave, you quit. Okay, It doesn't matter your team. So he commits to Duke, he quits on them. You know, you want to. You know, you're playing in the NBA, you know, playoffs, and you know you don't like your teammates, a la Ben Simmons. You quit on them. You're about to you call yourself the GOAT of the Olympics, and then you quit on your team and your country on that. So it's okay to quit down. So Jalen Johnson is a kid who gives you top 5 athleticism and potential.
Yeah,
and I think he fits a need for them. So I think that's one of the teams that he's looking for. So let's move on to Charlotte, as I went off topic a little bit, but that's just kind of how it is out there. You know, that's how we do. If I'm the GM for Memphis, and there are some GMs that are still feeling this because from what I heard that you're not there's a couple coaches and GMs out there that don't even have Jalen Johnson as a draftable player, and I think that says a lot. So let's go on to Charlotte. Now, Charlotte, they got LaMelo Ball last year. They have Terry Rozier. They have Devontae Graham. So they seem to be set a little bit. They got Gordon Hayward. So they're pretty, you know, thick at guards. What do you have them going? I mean, did they take a guard? Did they go big?
I got them taking Corey Kispert out of Gonzaga.
Ooh. Okay. Now you just took the best shooter in the draft.
Get some shooting around LaMelo and Rozier and PJ Washington. They get what's his name? Bridges from what's his name? The Bridges from Michigan State. The dunk.
Yeah, Miles Bridges.
Yeah, so just had another weapon out there, spread the floor and stuff like that. It seems like what type of offense they ran. I saw enough of them. It's let LaMelo run that pick and roll and have shooters around everywhere. So I think it fits the bill for them.
I mean, I could see that. I mean, Kispert is definitely a player that you could see coming up and you know, and getting hit in this area. Charlotte's under a lot of pressure because, you know, they got hit for a lot of questionable picks in the past. But you know what? And now, you know, listen, they haven't really been in the area where they could take a stud. They got the rookie of the year last year in LaMelo. So when you see it that way, yeah, they hit a home run. Miles Bridges, as you mentioned, has been a solid pro. PJ Washington has been a solid pro. So I think there's two ways that they could go. I think that the way that they will go is I think they'll try to get that big man in Kai Kai Jones from Texas.
Texas, yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah, I think that's what they go. It might be even him or Isaiah Jackson, but I think they have to go big here. You know, but Kai Jones would be the pick. Just phenomenal athlete. I mean, he's just an energy player. I mean, he could definitely run that pick and roll with LaMelo. He could crash the boards with guys like Devontae Graham and Rozier checking it. But he's definitely is the modern definition of a big, and he could definitely run the floor like with
That's a
anybody
good.
here. So I like Kai Jones as the pick there. So let's move it on. We got San Antonio Spurs. Popovich is out there in overseas, letting the country down, right? In Japan, letting the country down. So I mean,
Well, at
there's
least
no.
they won.
I mean, I think Pop's kind of past his prime. Probably could be a little bit of an overrated coach. He's. I don't want to say that, but I think one of the things is the Spurs offense just does not mesh well with the modern day. I had to watch the Spurs offense in Philly for way too long with Brett Brown. It's not a great fit in San Antonio anymore in the modern day. So, what are you thinking that they go here? Is there a player out there that could instantly help Popovich and that team?
I'm gonna go with that's where I went with Kai Jones. Did I see it? That's how I got Kai Jones there. Get a big man. He loves big men. So it's either him or I was going to go with Davion Mitchell from Baylor.
That's who I'm talking about. I'm thinking, DeMonte Murray he could play the off guard. Derek White. I mean, these guys aren't taking your team to the next level. No. I'm going off with what's his nickname?
Off day.
Off day. Exactly. So what you're getting with Davion Mitchell. I think he's a player that could come in and be that extension of the team, like Avery Johnson was, like Tony Parker was for Popovich, and kind of be that leader. He's a dominant scorer in isolation. His 3-point ball is getting better and better. And when you're looking at the defense, I mean, listen, there is a reason why he is called off night, because he actually just gets in there. And plays defense. He's a player that I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of went a little bit higher, like maybe a team like Orlando, if they're looking, to kind of, have that defensive guard. But I think that they still might be a little bit guard heavy, or even Oklahoma City to play alongside of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander if they value defense. But the thing with Davion Mitchell is I don't think the teams see much potential in it,
Yeah.
But that's not always a bad thing, because it's what you see is what you get. So I think Davion Mitchell to the Spurs would be a phenomenal pick. Here's a team that has a little bit more potential and already some established stars. You got Malcolm Brogdon in Indiana, right? You got Caris LeVert, you got Dontavious Sabonis, and you have Miles Turner. So Turner's out here. Nice defensive player. Sabonis was a stud last year. LeVert was hurt most of the season, so you really didn't see what it is. And Brogdon is just that solid player. So when you talk about that core, where do you think what do you think could add value to that team to kind of get them right where they need to be?
That's another tough one because I don't know their positions, but I said maybe like a Zaire Williams. I know he's like a shooting guard, small forward, maybe another guy to add to that.
Yeah. Well, he struggled a little bit in his one season at Stanford, but I mean he still was a potential top pick.
Yeah. And I think they have enough players on that team where they can get a potential guy and just put him in that rotation. And is it who's coaching there? What's his name from Dallas? Rick Carlisle. Yeah. So he's a great coach. He'll teach and do that stuff. He won't rush him into it. So I think that's a good fit for him.
The player I like for this, and you already drafted him, is Corey Kispert. Okay,
that's a good one.
He's a little bit older. He's a little bit battle tested. Yeah. He could come fit right in there. I mean, you have Malcolm Brogdon. You have Malcolm Brogdon, who's been an improved shooter, but he kind of does everything. LeVert is more of a scorer. You have Sabonis and Miles. You put Corey Kispert with Indiana, he could step right in and be that shooter that they need. They already have our boy Dougie McBuckets out there. I think Corey Kispert is just a 22-year-old version of him. His athleticism is a little bit underrated, but it's not elite. This is an extremely athletic class. But I think Corey Kispert in Indiana would be a perfect pick.
It's a good pick. I agree.
Going back to but now is there a chance that the Warriors actually keep this pick?
No.
I mean, it just seems like, with Wiseman last year, with they already had the number one pick. You had Kuminga there. I think I had Franz Wagner there. So I mean, with that going on here, I mean, if they do keep the pick for the sake of this exercise, what do you like with this?
I think they take Dort from Oregon.
Now, see, you had him picked earlier.
No, I remember I changed it. I switched it up. I said
I got you. But what I like about the Duarte pick is that when you see what he's doing, he like I mentioned when you first picked him, he's an older player, right? But this is a team that is in need of older players.
That's what I'm saying.
So Duarte could come in and kind of,
remember, not to cut you off. Remember, you asked me what if the Bulls were picking there. I didn't decide on the Orlando.
Right. Yeah. That's that's what I'm just saying. When you mentioned them before, when you picked them before, however you want to term it to help you sleep at night. But when we talked about him earlier in the draft, we're I mentioned he was kind of old. So if you're a rebuilding team, he wouldn't be a player that I kind of spy, but he is going up the draft boards. I mean, what do you like about Duarte? For the Warriors.
Well, I think he's a bigger guard and he gets buckets. After seeing him I didn't watch I didn't watch a lot of him. The tournament is what told me he's a bucket getter. I like that. Being with Steph and Clay and Draymond, he's going to get his opportunities to score because Draymond doesn't shoot, but they're going to try to stop Steph and Clay, and we know that's not going to happen. So you're going to be wide open for shots. I think he's a perfect fit for them. A bigger guard. What's he like? 6'4", 6'5"? So
no, he's 6'6", 190. So when you're looking at that, so you had Steph and Clay, right? And Clay hasn't played in a while.
Who he reminds me of? Height wise, not game wise. With Sean Livingston. Remember they had him, a bigger guy that could play the 1, 2, 3. Could play with them.
Well, he's a much better shooter than Livingston. I mean, he shot 42% from three. In a nice clip. Attempts from Oregon. They were definitely had to hit a really good season, but he's probably at the apex and he could still improve. But he's another one like Davion Mitchell is, they're a little bit older and teams. But I think it would be a great fit with the Warriors. I mean, if you look at what they rolled out there last year with Andrew Wiggins. Okay, so you have Andrew Wiggins out there. Then they also had Kelly Oubre, right? Kelly Oubre says he doesn't want to come off the bench next year, blah, blah, blah. I don't think he's going to be long for there. I think Duarte could come in and kind of pretty much just replace anything that Kelly Oubre did. And I think it would be a great pick for Golden State. Next up, the Bullets. I mean, the Wizard.
I like the Bullets better. Listen,
this is a team. What are they? Where are the Wizards?
I don't have any idea. I didn't even pick because I wasn't sure where they're going or what are they doing. I don't know. Do they need? They need everything. So it's just I guess do they go best player available at that point or?
So when we look at it, their roster and we had a chance to see them play in person. You have Westbrook, you have Beal. Let's assume that they're still there because it's a good chance that they might not be here, right? Westbrook, Beal might not be here. This pick could be something packaged with them. I mean, this could be completely irrelevant pick, but for what we're doing, that's not the case. So when you're looking at their roster, right? Then they had Danny Avdija last year. Before that, they Rui Hachimura, two developmental picks, which turn out that they look like they're going to be okay players. Big man and Thomas Bryant. So do the Wizards try to do a full court press here and get a big man that could play, or are they just going to try to get somebody that they could develop and just try to sell the season? I'm not 100% sure. What do you think that they're going with?
I don't know, man. I personally believe that they're probably going to try to go for a big guy if they're what you're saying. So I guess they would go best big guy available. I had a tough time because I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea. Like they were one of those teams I wasn't sure. Like are they even going to be there at that pick? Like whose pick is that? I don't think they'll be picking at 15. I think there's going to be some type of trade.
Yeah, so that's a thing that it's going to be hard to kind of sit there and honestly, like when people bash the process, this is kind of why the Sixers started the process, because they're kind of a team with okay pieces, couple pieces that other teams want, but they're not going to be really a threat here. What I'm doing, if I'm the Washington, I'm probably taking a big, and the best well. If 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 they're trying to get a solid big, a true big pick and roll, like you're saying, it's hard to I'm probably going with Isaiah Jackson, from the kid from Kentucky. He's a lob finisher. He's going to be able to kind of come up. I don't think Isaiah Jackson might be the best player right now, but he's an elite athlete. He's huge. Thomas Bryant is more of that banger. You've seen Washington struggle, especially when they were trying to play against Embiid last year in the playoffs. I don't know how much success Isaiah Jackson, because he's pretty thin, would have against them. But when you're looking at trying to fill the roster as is, then I think that we're looking at a team that that is probably going to go with a big in Isaiah Jackson. Now, there's also the other big, Usman Garuba from Spain, the kid from Turkey, Sengun. I mean, but these guys are more developmental players, and I don't know if I'm Westbrook and Beal and I'm trying to make a playoff run or something like that, I'm going to sit there and be happy with them taking developmental players. Okay. If they get rid of Wheel, they get rid of Westbrook, they get rid of one of them two guys, I think Keon Johnson, the kid who set the vertical record at the combine, I think from the shooting guard from Tennessee, I think he might be the pick. Or maybe a Sharif Cooper, depending on which one they get rid of. You either get the floor general or that. So Washington definitely has a lot of interesting prospects at this draft. Oh, look who's here, Oklahoma City. So Oklahoma City, so what do we already have them have? We already have them have Boat Night, right?
Boat Night, yeah.
Trying to think who else we had them pick.
Well, that's
I guess I should have been writing that down, because this is their second pick. I'm sorry. See, we're
right there.
So they already have Boat Night. So what do you think could complement this roster?
I go Keon Johnson.
Okay, the kid I just mentioned, right? So So Boat Night and Keon Johnson might be a little bit redundant in the same draft, though, don't you think?
Well, isn't Keon? I thought Keon was more of a small forward. I mean, shooting guard, small forward.
Well, I mean, I guess. Well, I mean, he's only 6'5", Keon Johnson.
Are we kind of going to a positionless NBA now? Like, it's just like you see a lot of the 3-guard lineup. So I was thinking, depending on what they do with SGA too, like they might be like, all right, well, we're going to try to get rid of him anyway, so let's get him in there. This will be a good tell to see what's going on with SGA, I think, too, as well. So,
well, from everything that's coming out of Oklahoma City, they're trying to talk about him, being more of a trying to kind of like do a rebuild, right? So I'm taking this pick. This is the second pick. They took Boat Knight, who has potential to be an elite scorer in the NBA. Okay, with 6, I think that they go with the more of the project big man now, and Usman Garuba. He's just a complete animal from Spain. He's 230 pounds, mostly of muscle. He's a phenomenal defender, huge wingspan. I think that he has a pretty good handle for his size, and I think that if you're talking about maybe somebody who has the resume or the physical features that could be the next Giannis, I think he is definitely a prospect to watch. So I think if Oklahoma City is trying to swing for the fences, and that's what you have to do, right? You have to swing for the fences. You have to try to get an apex level player at one point, and I think Garuba might be the pick for them. And I think he could fit well. They could play him. Like I said, they played Moses Brown a lot last year, so might as well go ahead and grab him as they can. Here is another interesting pick coming up. New Orleans Pelicans. Kev, what are your thoughts on the Pelicans? I mean, they made the trade. They have Valanciunas now. What are your thoughts overall with them?
I don't know. Listen, I think they're looking for some. They're going to get a point guard in free agency. I think this is a spot where you're going to see a Kyle Lowry go to, because they're offering. They freed up all that money. I think they're going to get a guy like Kyle Lowry. They're looking for some. They want a point guard to go along with Ingram and Zion. Experienced leader. So we'll see. I think in this pick, I think they're taking Jared Butler out of Baylor. That's where I was going. Guy who can play point guard, can play shoot guard, at a great defender, comes from a winning program. So I think Jared Butler's the pick for them.
Now they gave Valanciunas, right? Which
I don't understand.
What's that?
I don't understand. Like, don't you want Zion? You want the middle open for Zion, don't you?
Well, that's the thing. So they have him. When you're looking at it, so they have Zion. They have is Lonzo Ball going to be there? It doesn't look like he is. I'm not going to just assume that Kyle Lowry is there. I know that's who they're looking for. That's why they freed up that money. They want to go after. They want their Chris Paul guy. I don't know if Kyle Lowry's Chris Paul, but that's what they're going with. They want their Chris Paul guy. Yeah, I think that if comparing Kyle Lowry to Chris Paul is like comparing a Dotson to a Lamborghini. I mean, you're talking about one of the best point guards ever. And if the New Orleans is dumb enough in this, I'm not in love with a lot of the moves that New Orleans has done. I think that I think that he's just not what they have there. But when you're going forward, you have Brandon Ingram and you have Zion and you have Valanciunas. That seems pretty nice. So I think that they do need backcourt help. Now, who is out here with the backcourt help? Because there's a few ways to do it. I think Zaire Williams, who I think you had going prior to this,
yeah,
I think he's that traditional shooting guard. If they play Ingram at small forward, then Zaire Williams would be the shooting guard. I think he has the most potential, but does he help right away? Which he might not. Jared Butler might add a little bit of short-term success, but you're talking about a team that, I mean, when you look at it, like, yeah, they should be chasing short-term success, but I don't know if they're not it's like they're not a playoff team. So I mean, I think they have to take the best prospect. I think that would be Zaire Williams at this point. Jared Butler, I could see makes a lot of sense. Another player that might make some sense too is what's this kid's name?
Where is he from?
Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson, score right out their backyard from LSU. But that's what I'm saying. He is, I mean, you talk about modern day lighted up Trae Young mold, Steph Curry mold, but I don't think he's at that level. But if they're looking for a player that can give them outside shooting at that, I think that could be it. So right back to it, our favorite team and yours now, right? Everybody's favorite, OKC.
That's where I went with that crazy, that big freak from Spain. So you had 16, I had him at 18. So
yeah, because I mean, that might not be bad unless Pelicans trade out of this pick because he shouldn't be really on the Pelicans' radar. So when you look at it like that, it could be something. And I think here now, I think this is where I have one of the better point guards I think that are left in the draft. Okay, I think that he is a scorer, and I think that he's somebody that has good size, streaky shooter, but he's definitely your modern day let it fly shooter, and that's Trey Mann, good size from Florida. That's who I have here.
Good call.
So I think that's something that they'll be looking into. The Knicks, listen, there was a resurgence. I think it could have been a lot of false bravado for in New York. Everybody, the Knicks started winning. They were a good regular season team because they played hard. And you got to give Pop a lot of credit. You have to give Julius Randle a lot of credit. R.J. Barrett. I mean, this team, Mitchell Robinson, them kind of guys. So when we're looking at that, what does this team need? I mean, Emmanuel quickly, showed some good minutes. D Rose. So what do you think that the Knicks are going to do here?
I think they're going.
Whoa.
Sorry,
Everybody all right?
Yeah, it's not just something fell off the door. Where we at the Knicks? I have them taking the point guard from West Virginia, Miles McBride. I think they need a point guard, shooting guard type guy. So,
I could definitely see that. I think it might, McBride is somebody who's he's a good on ball defender.
Yeah.
And he could score. His stock has definitely been rising. With that said, though, I have somebody you picked just a little bit ago, and that's Jared Butler. I think Jared Butler would come in. Him and Emmanuel quickly could kind of establish a backcourt. They're not going to have Derrick Rose there as their veteran guards, and I think Butler has the experience to play that combo guard and kind of really help them out there.
That's because Derrick's coming home.
He's coming home? He might.
Everything I'm reading, that's pretty much not a done deal, but so much as long as he doesn't get, because he's not getting as much money as what he thought he would. He's not getting those bites supposedly, which
I think it's insane. I mean, Derrick Rose should definitely be getting that kind of love. But
so
now let's see, we're at Atlanta.
This is where I go. Go ahead.
I mean, listen, they had a really nice playoff run, aided by some boneheaded plays by the 76ers. They really don't need much on that team at all. And I think I think they have multiple levels of scoring. You got guys off the bench that could score, and see what's going on there. So where are you seeing them go with this pick? I'm not going to call it a luxury pick, but it kind of is, right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, they have all that young talent. I went with Cam Thomas from LSU, the shooting guard, the guy you were talking about earlier.
Point guard. I mean, yeah, he like I even mentioned Trae Young when
yeah,
when it is. I mean, yeah. So I could definitely see him kind of coming in as kind of like you don't miss a beat with in Atlanta with that. But can't say I'm in love with that. I think one of the things that that they could do though is you have Clint Capella as your big, right? And you also have their backup big and high draft pick last week on Nwukie. He might miss a huge chunk of the season next year. So
right, he did.
What's that?
He got hurt, right? Training or something? When he separated his shoulder?
Exactly. So I think this is where they kind of take that little bit of luxury and they take Alperen Sengun, the kid from Spain and Turkey.
The big dude.
Yeah, he's a 6'9", center, and he's your typical European player with solid footwork, and I think that this is where they kind of hope that they could kind of get, as much as Clint Capella is your lob finisher and that kind of stuff, you're looking at a guy who really is limited offensively. He's not a phenomenal shooter, but he does shoot the ball as most European bigs do. So it's like I think if he could kind of just, get an opportunity with Atlanta, and they could develop him and walk, and these guys, I think that's where I would have him at Alperen and Serperon. I'm sorry, I still had to. That's for the Atlanta. That's not for New York. But then again, right back to New York, their second pick, and
this is I mean, they're back. This is where I went with the lob finisher from Kentucky, Isaiah Jackson.
Okay. I mean, I could see that as a good pick there. You could come in and back up Mitchell Robinson. I
Yeah.
like that. Um, I had them just picking Sharif Cooper, I believe, correct? No, Jared Butler.
The Knicks, you had Jared Butler. Yes.
Yes, I had Jared Butler. Okay, so we're not going to go there. I think um, I think here's where we see one of the guys that I think could be uh, somebody that we haven't really talked about, and kind of under the same veil as what you discussed earlier, and that's Greg Brown. Greg Brown, kid from Texas.
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he is just a premier athlete, could finish, attack the rim. Um, Also, a guy here that's kind of like in the similar is Charles Bassey. I think that one of those two guys, and Brown is a little bit smaller than Bassey, but these guys were projected to be number one picks, in their class and everything like that. So it should be interesting. But I agree with you. I think this is the pick where they get a big,
Yeah.
right? You have Isaiah Jackson. I have one of these guys, so I think we're go on an athletic big there. Now,
Yeah.
who does LeBron draft? Is this GM LeBron? Is this pick? I mean, I've been hearing that LA's been desperately trying to get rid of Kyle Kuzma. There's all kinds of other stuff with Schroeder.
Hey,
What's that?
they offered everybody in the NBA either some type of either Kuzma or KCP or one of them, or they're definitely trying to get rid of him. I got the perfect guy for you.
Go ahead.
Jalen Johnson.
Well, I had him going much earlier because of the talent, but
that screams a perfect guy to put in that lineup with LeBron and AD and whatever else they bring out there. And if anybody can get anything out of him, it'll be LeBron. As much as we criticize him for what he does, he will bring out the best in Jalen Johnson, I think.
Where LeBron just trades him.
Yeah. Either or.
Yeah, if he's there, I mean, I can see him as the best player available. I mean, it's just so hard to project a rookie to go play with LeBron, though, right? I mean, because you're talking about a team that wants to win and they want to win now. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to see them trade this pick.
They probably will anyway. But I'm just saying, I think Jalen Johnson would be perfect for them.
Yeah. So, but you already drafted this guy, and I think that that he would be a very nice fit for what LeBron's trying to do, especially since that they've been struggling with point guard, and I think Miles McBride might be a guy that would go well with the Lakers, because when you're looking at it, they need a defender, they need somebody who could also score. I mean, I think McBride does a little bit of everything for them, and I think when you're looking at this pick to interact exactly into their offense, I think that would be a nice fit for them.
That's a good one.
Now back to back. Now here's the thing. Now here's Houston Rockets, right? Back to back picks. I guess we could just talk about these picks all at the same time, right? Both picks. What Houston did as far as giving up James Harden, I mean, is it really worth now that we're at the point where we're in the middle of the draft? Is it really worth getting rid of Harden for these picks?
Not at all.
I was gonna say, like, I think there's some, it's like, oh, you get to feel let down if you're a Rockets fan right now. Like, these are some of the picks that we got for Harden. So what do you see them doing there?
I see them taking Trey Mann, the point guard, shooting guard out of Florida, the guy you drafted earlier.
Yep.
And then I know I'm gonna butcher his name. Sugan. What's his name? He's from. Let me find it. I just had his name up.
You're talking about the kid from Turkey that I just took a couple.
Yes.
I had Atlanta taken.
Yep, that guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. If they took both of them guys, they'd be like, okay, cool. Trey. I think I like Trey Mann there. I think right now Houston. I mean, so we had them picking Jalen Green. We had them picking. Not picking, but they still have. They have Jalen Green. They have
Christian Wood,
John Wall,
Kevin Porter Jr.
Kevin Porter Jr. I think that they need to go big, and I think this is where we might see a Tar Heel come off the board in Duran Sharp. I mean, the kid has a ton of
Thought about
potential.
it. I
He
thought about it.
has he probably has the best body in the NBA draft right now, as far as yeah. I mean, maybe could be said about the kid from us. What the heck's his name
Grant,
again?
Garuba.
Garumba. But Sharp is a lot bigger than him. We've seen him play in Carolina a lot. And I think if I'm Houston and I'm looking for a big, that's kind of who I would go with one of the picks. Now with the other pick, it's kind of just like, hey, what are we doing here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think they try to get a veteran that they can kind of come in there and play next to them guys. And I think they take the kid from Illinois who he had up and down season, but he was kind of do everything player. And Ao Dusumumu, which is easy for you to say. I think that's kind of where they go with that development prospect and Sharp that comes from a quality background and another quality player in Ao Dusumunu, and they try to kind of because he's not the same player as Jalen Green. He's not the same player as Kevin Porter Jr., which is going to shoot it. So he's somebody who doesn't need the ball in his hands at all times, and he can distribute a little bit. So I think that's what I would go with these two picks. Who was your second pick for them again? Just want to recap.
It was Man, and then the dude that you Zabunga. I forget his name. I'm so hard. I'm terrible with names. I apologize for butchering his name. Sengun.
Right. Yeah. So I think.
Sengun.
So I think we're still kind of on the same page with that and what Houston should be doing. So it's definitely something. I mean, so now we're getting to
the Clips.
The clip joint. So the Clippers. Oh, we lost Kev.
Sorry about that.
You're late in the draft. What are the Clippers doing, right? What are we doing with the Clippers? I lost Kev again. Guess it'd just be me. So listen, the Clippers are a team. Kawhi, them guys are probably coming back what they need to be. You also had with Paul George. You see what they did. I don't think there's a rookie in this draft right now at this point, and you kind of say this for all the teams upcoming. It's going to put them on the other level. So what I would be doing is I would be going for pretty much the youngest player in the draft. It's Joshua Primo, and he's a kid from Alabama. He could score. Very, very fluid athlete. Looks like a basketball player as far as his movements and everything like that. You could shoot it pretty well. He's in his high 30%. So he can improve on that. If they are looking to move some players and try to kind of get some players to develop behind them, why not take the youngest player who has some prospect ability to him? So that'll be Joshua Primo. Clevin is back. So I have Joshua Primo. Kev was just saying for the Clippers, youngest player in the draft. And I can't. And you don't have any volume there, buddy. So you must be on mute. Nah, it's still not hearing you. So, anyway, our man Henry is with us. Maybe he had a couple comments and questions. So, Henry, he has a comments question. He's like, do I even want to know who Denver's going to select at 26? Of course you want to know, Henry. I mean, you can always find a diamond in the rough. There's been plenty of players in there. I mean, you have Jokic. I mean, there's not a ton that you really need. That's why I'm going to go with Trey Murphy. He's very versatile, huge wingspan, fluid athlete, strong shooter. Might every now and then disappear in the flow of the game. KG, you back with me or no? No, you're not. Still can't hear you, bud. So hopefully we can get that straightened up while we're talking about the Denver Nuggets here. So, yeah. So Denver at 26, I mean, I think what we're going to do here is, you're going to look for, like I just said, one of the best guys in the draft. I think Trey Murphy, 6'9", he's from Virginia, played in a good system. I think he can come in and help that team win. Michael Porter Jr. has developed in the second thing. They'll get Jamal Murray back. They have some definite potential there. So we're going to go now to and we lost Kev again. I don't know. Kev, it's been a crazy night. Big night for the show tonight. Paulie doesn't show up. Anthony doesn't show up. KG having technical difficulties, and we're having more difficulties as you could possibly imagine. So let's go here. Nuggets. Brooklyn is in the house. Now, what does Brooklyn do? Now, if Amunu, the kid from Illinois, Dasumunu, doesn't go there earlier with Houston, I think there's a strong possibility that this is a place where he lands up. But he's not here. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to go with a kid called JT Thor. Power forward, 6'10", 205, solid handle. He could do a little bit of everything. Could be that role player that I think Brooklyn needs. So that's going to be Brooklyn at Thor with JT. Brooklyn with JT Thor. Now let's go. Here we are, the Sixers, flying solo right now with the Sixers. The Sixers are a team that I think do they need this pick? I don't know. Probably not. But since there's a player I really like here, I think they could step in as a team is. Because right now, who knows what the Sixers are going to do? Ben Simmons might be out of here. They might be picking 6. They might be picking nothing at all in the first round. They might have, whole new roster. You never know what Daryl Morey is going to do. So if I'm staying here, looking at the board of who we have left, I'm probably here's the problem with the Sixers. All right, let's see if we get Kevin back on. KJ, can I hear you?
Can you hear me?
There we go. Just in time for the Sixers pick.
Just in time, dude. I don't know what happened. I apologize to everybody. Something happened here, but my Sixers pick will be Jaden Springer from Tennessee, point guard, shooting guard.
So now I'm a little bit torn, okay? Every single mock I've seen has them taking a shooting guard slash point guard, combo guard style. All right. For the sake of argument, we're going to say Ben Simmons is no longer on the team. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he is on the team, I think it really doesn't matter too much into the draft. But everybody's taking shooting guard. So last year they took combo guard Tyrese Maxey. The year before that, Shake Milton. Now they have combo guard Seth Curry. So you kind of have 3 combo guards that already fit that mold. What I've seen is they didn't have a backup center. They didn't have really a true backup forward. I mean, they were throwing in, Mike Scott. They were throwing in some of these other guys. So this is the thing where I think people might be completely, unless there's a guy out there that they could kind of see, being extreme potential. Bones Highland and Quentin Grimes are 2 guys that have really been attached to the Sixers, which I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be true or not. All right. Because both could be solid players. Both are scorers. Quentin Grimes, he was a high-level prospect that committed to Kansas. Didn't really work out there. Went to Houston. So once he went to Houston, he kind of really elevated his stock. But I'm not seeing, that the value there because Maxey's not going anywhere. You have to get him more playing time. You have to get Jake Milton to see what he is. You still have Korkmaz. You're kind of, I don't want to say no man's land, but when you look at it, it's difficult to figure out. See, I think that kind of player is a little bit, I'm not gonna say lazy, but not really what they want. What I would be looking for is a stretch 4, power forward, something like that. I think that I'm so torn on this pick, to be honest with you. It just drives me crazy. I would probably take Charles Bassey, power forward, center, all the potential in the world. More of a traditional center, could kind of break it up. If they don't go with Charles Bassey, I could definitely support a player like Josh Christopher, who is another kid who really hasn't blossomed in the talent that he could. Struggled a little bit last year. What do you think of them guys?
I like that. Bassey's a good one. I like Bassey as a backup. I personally don't think Ben's going to be here, so I think they're trying to get some guards in there. I think Jaden Springer fits perfectly for you guys, but I do like the fact that you get a backup for Joel because I mean you like Dwight Howard and all, but was he a 1-year deal or 2-year deal? Is he coming back or?
No, he's probably not coming back.
So that's a good pick. I wouldn't see anything wrong with that.
No,
Also I'd like for you guys is Bones Highland from VCO. That's a Delaware kid.
no, that's who I mentioned is Bones Highland.
I couldn't. I'm just going in and out. It's still having a little trouble. I apologize. Yeah, but he would be a perfect pick too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're talking about an Uber school, but what? How much difference does Bones Highland give you than Tyrese Maxey?
Not a lot, man. See, you're like one of those. I don't know, like that's you guys. That's why I kind of wish the trade or the free agency was beforehand, and like because you could figure out what you need. Like, is Ben going to be gone? Are you drafting for Ben to be gone? Like, there's so many. If Ben was gone, you could go a different direction with the whole draft. So it's just tough for you guys. You're in one of those situations where you kind of wish you knew what was going on before the draft with Ben.
Yeah. Well, that's what and it's very difficult, and that's why I think like I would prefer to lean to somebody like Josh Christopher over Bones Highland or somebody like that because they're not really true point guards. If a Sharif Cooper or somebody like that fell to the Sixers and they could be that traditional point guard for you, then I'd definitely be about it.
That'd be a good one.
But as the team is constructed now, Josh Christopher, so here's one of the things I know I discussed this before that drove me crazy with the Sixers, and the Sixers are one of the worst passing teams in the NBA. No one they're going to really draft here to give you quality minutes is going to be that player, right? They're also one of the teams that kind of made your head scratch when they run. Ben would get a rebound, they'd try to run, and he'd be the only one there. You have Danny Green on one wing, you have Seth Curry on the other wing, and neither player is going to be finishing at the rim for you. You have Joel Embiid jogging back, and who knows where the hell Tobias Harris is going to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know he's going to be looking for his own shot. So give me a wing that could fly, give me a wing that could fly. And I think Josh Christopher, I think he has the potential. And this is strictly a potential pick. I think I would lean him more than a guy like another guy, BJ Boston. He from Kentucky. He's a straight scorer. At that guard forward that could kind of fill it up, fill that wing. So I like them guys. We've got a couple more picks here to finish out the first round. The Suns. Everybody's darling. It looks like Campaign is going to go. I kind of like Bones Highland here to kind of back up Chris Paul to take that Campaign role.
Yeah, I like Sharif Cooper.
Well, I had him going a long time ago. I thought, so if Sharif Cooper's there, I think that's a Sixers pick. But Suns, Bones Highland, Sharif Cooper. They both would kind of be. I think that they're not going to sign Campaign back, so I think that's a good pick there. Utah.
Josh Primo, guard from Alabama, I think it is. Alabama or Arkansas.
Yeah, you missed it. I had him going to the Clippers earlier, Josh Primo. Now Utah's a team, what do they need? Hard to say what Utah needs, You're looking at them. I think that Utah might take a flyer on Isaiah Todd, a highly rated kid from Team Ignite in the G League, kind of raised his stock a little bit in the G League. So I think that's good. Now, here's the question. Okay, there's some guys that we named that were pretty damn good basketball players that aren't drafted in the first round. So I gotta re-up on the blue Raz.
I saw it, bro. I saw it. I know what it's all about, brother.
Listen, I shout out to my boys down at Rock Bottom. They got all kinds of new flavors down there. Watermelon. I picked up some Star Spangled something. I mean, I
They
don't know
got,
yet.
they got some taste like grape Skittles. There's all kinds of them
I
now.
think I got one of them too. So yeah, so thankfully they've been getting me through these, long days at work and all that kind of other stuff, and then trying to kind of come here. But teams without first round picks: Bucks, Bulls, Celtics, Trailblazers, Heat. I mean, so when you're targeting the second round, I mean, I guess it's it's more of a pick like this. Players that could surprise, like what players from either small school we haven't talked about that you actually think that could be a or maybe we already did talk about late first round picks that could actually be a true surprise player and could kind of go
Uh,
you need them.
there was one guy I saw that I thought that would like he would. Where's he at? Give me 1 second. I have to find him. You know who I like? Where's he at? Shit, I can't find. You're saying small schools or
No,
just
no, I'm just saying it doesn't have to be small school. I'm just saying guys who aren't projected to be high draft picks.
I hate to do it, but
So,
you know who I like, man? I hate to do it because I hate Villanova. Is that Jeremiah Robinson Earl?
okay.
I like him. Like he as much I hate to say he plays winning basketball. He can do a little bit of everything. I think if he makes the right team, he fits on the right team. He can help a team out.
Well,
Like
and yeah, I mean, you see a lot of his game and a lot of other former Villanova players. He's 6'9".
yeah,
He's going to be what you kind of envision. Mikal Bridges, not really in that mold, but just kind of pretty good at everything. I mean,
yeah.
he's not a player that I'm going to get too excited about. One player that I think really could sneak into the first round, projected some in his second round. Okay, is whatchamacallit, Jason Preston from Ohio. Okay. He made some noise in the tournament. He has a phenomenal feel for the game. As that, you mentioned, it's funny we're mentioning Sean Livingston, but he has a lot of Sean Livingston kind of ability in his game. Small school, I think he's a kid that I think people should be looking out for because he has just a great feel for the game. He knows how to play. Solid athleticism, has to work on the shot a little bit. But I think Jason Preston from Ohio is a kid that, be interested to see where he lands. I got two. I got a couple more. Unless you got another one for me.
Nah, that's it. That's only pretty much. I would love for that kid to somehow get to the Bulls at 38. I don't know if he'll be there at 38. He's a point
Yeah,
guard. But he's like
are you talking about kid? You talking about Robinson Earl?
no, the guy that you talked about, the point guard kid from Ohio. I love him. I watched him
Jason
in the
Preston.
tournament. Yeah, you know what I mean. You can put him in that that's for me the Bulls. That would be perfect for him. He's a bigger guy, makes plays. You don't need a lot of scoring out of the point guard. That would be perfect for the Bulls. I don't know if he'll be there. Hopefully he is, so we can grab him, but we'll see.
Another player is Joe Wieskamp from Iowa. He could shoot the lights out of the ball. And that's a skill. I mean, you talking about a Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero kind of shooting ability. I mean, a couple years ago, you seen how good he was. But and definitely the one guy that I think it's just insane. And I think I want to talk about this a little bit is Luke Garza.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna slide over here so we could talk with Mr. Garza. So you have a two-time player of the year. Okay. He's 6'9", phenomenal feel for the game. Obviously not an uber athlete, right? Why don't you think he's getting the love from NBA teams?
I don't know, man. I mean, he is kind of slow. I think it's more moving to a positionless NBA. I know he can shoot a little bit outside, but will he be able to cover the smaller centers and power forwards, the quick guards off the pick and rolls? I think he got a lot of I like Luka Garza, but I wasn't very I think in the NBA he'll get beat. Guards will beat him. Small forwards will beat him off the dribble. It sucks because it shows you what happens. A 4-year player, he works hard, does all these great things. Again, he'll make it to some team and be he'll be a contributor, but I just don't think he fits in the new age NBA.
See, I think that your concerns are warranted, and I think that's why he's not getting a love. But I think that those concerns also could be a little bit misconstrued. First of all, not many bigs are able to guard guards off the pick and roll anyway. Okay, you've seen Trey Young, you've seen him not even you've seen Brooke Lopez stand out there and do nothing
Yeah,
on defense. So
I
and they just won an NBA championship. So I think that kind of is a little thing. But I think when you talk about position in this NBA, I mean, I think it's a perfect time to have a 6'9" center who could shoot the three. He's going to bang. He's going to get rebounds. I mean, when you look at a player like that, I mean, Kevin Love was a successful NBA player, and he couldn't run and tie his shoes. I mean, he could, and he transformed his game.
I think it's, and I'm not saying it's right, but he's from Iowa, and not many players come from Iowa. It's just the way the NBA. Like, look, I would
Ricky Davis sends his love.
Exactly. So there you go, Reggie Evans, guys like that. You know what I mean? That's why I think he's not getting any love. You know what I mean? So,
and I think listen. I think a team who takes a chance on him in the late second round, an established team that could come in, need somebody who could stretch the floor, bang on defense, get rebounds. I think Luke Garza definitely could play in the NBA.
Oh, I think so too. I just don't think that's why he's getting love. I don't think that, like, anybody's a two-time NBA, NCAA Player of the Year should be higher, but I just think that's what it is. I think everybody's scared to take a chance on him, and teams will probably regret it.
I actually think you're pretty dead on about that one as far as teams regret it. Trying to give you guys one more name. Oh, Herbert Jones, my man from Alabama. I mean, he D'd up, he dunked everything, undersized center, but
that's true.
That's an energy guy. I mean, Herbert Jones was the man in Alabama. I mean, I love watching him play. I think it's just there's obviously shooting concerns with him. I mean, he's not he's not a scorer, but I mean, why can't he get out there and play some D and rebound? I mean, you see teams that are effective with hey, Clint Capella came from that. So I mean, why not give him a little love? Little higher level players here and high end players that will bust. What do you think? I mean, do you see a potential bust in the top 10? I mean, let's just concentrate there. In the top 10, is there a bust?
Bust meaning just going to be completely horrible. Probably I think maybe Kuminga. I know I'm butchering names and I apologize. I'm terrible.
Kuminga, no, you're good, Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, Kuminga, or you know what, and I love the Knowles. That's my college football squad, and I give a little bit of love to the Knowles. But Scotty Barnes might be again, that shooting might hurt him later on. He might become now it's not a bust, but he might be like a Kyle Anderson. You know what I mean? All that potential. Oh, he can do that in the third, and
slow-mo
never really pans out. You know what I mean? So I don't think there's going to be. I don't think the top, what we say top 8. I don't think there's one guy you're going to be like, that guy's horrendous. He should be out of the league. I think all of them in the top 8 will make it and be fine. But if those are probably my two that I'd say would struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Barnes kind of disappearing into a minor role player like a Jeff Green or somebody like that plays in the NBA for a while but never really excels. I could definitely see that happening. I could also see Franz Wagner. I mean, he if the athleticism is overrated and he can't handle the NBA, I mean, he reminds me of I think he has a better feel for the game. Not a better shooter though than Nick Stauskas. While we're talking about Michigan, I mean, I see videos upon videos of him actually getting there on it, shooting the ball and stuff like that. But in a reality situation, he's not getting it done, and it couldn't last the NBA. So I could see Franz Wagner get there. So I think that those are two guys that could potentially bust. So, anyway, it's been an absolute fucking shit show. Dreadful tonight. Facebook took us down. Doesn't let us broadcast. So that limits our comments and our viewership and all that kind of stuff. But listen, we're talking ball, and me and you, we've actually done it for almost 2 hours now, and That's something we could do all day. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
What are your plans for the draft tomorrow?
I actually have a basketball game, so I'll be getting in late for that. So I'm into the quarterfinals of my over 40 league. So it's game time. I know, but it's fun.
How have you been doing in that? I haven't really heard much about it. I mean, you said it was kind of non-competitive for you. So
it's really not competitive, but the playoffs are here, and the guy wants a championship. So I told him I just
hey, you want a chip, you get him a chip.
That's what I'm saying. So I just been playing and kind of just enjoying myself, running around, get some cardio, and I haven't been going completely hard and nothing like that. But I've been having fun. Anytime you get a chance to, as you get older, anytime you get a chance to play on a basketball court, man, you do it and you enjoy it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about, TQ. You'll be there soon enough.
Yeah, I'll be there. 40? I still have a way to go.
I'm at the basketball court. You still got 15, 16 years before you hit 40. So
yeah, and I played a little bit on Saturday, just trying to get. We played some half court. Shot was feeling pretty good. Took it easy on the movements. Braced watched my steps, stuff like that. Of course, the general Larry was just put it. We were playing good. I had some college ballers there and stuff like that. And when I started getting hot, then that's when the pushing started a little bit more. But I was every step I took, to quote
Bobby Brown.
Every little step, Bobby Brown. There you go. Was thought. When I made sure I planted, turn, get loosed off, that kind of stuff. So I wasn't there was no running, there was no jumping. There was just me using my smarts to create angles and stuff like that. And I felt pretty good afterwards too. So
good. That's good.
But tomorrow I will be glued to the TV watching the draft. I think during the day it's going to be crazy. You're going to hear a lot of it.
I say stay up tonight. There's already some stuff brewing. You can tell already. I think just watch Woj. Just stay on Twitter's Woj. Keep refreshing, and you'll see a lot of Woj bombs in the next couple hours. I think it's going to get rocking and rolling. So stay tuned.
I'm seeing a lot of I wouldn't say Woj bombs, but a lot of action from the Yankees getting Joey Gallo.
Yeah, I just saw that too. So
that Dak Prescott hurt, cool, shoulder soreness, stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. We might see that kind of stuff sooner than later. But all right, man. I don't know. No one will ever probably see this, so no, I'm sorry. We'll have a few views on YouTube and stuff like that. But anyway, all right. Let's hope for some fun nights, and maybe your Bulls will make some exciting moves, and hey, might even be with my Sixers.
Listen, if it happens, Ben Simmons jersey is coming right to the house.
All right, bro.
All right, brother.
Later. Not even. I guess I'll do the outro just to make it official. I mean, even though we're not broadcasting, but all right. See you. I'll talk to you, bro. Later.
Peace, bro.
Thank you for watching this episode of Baseline Jumper on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hamilton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app